Hey, it's Pokaie. So about like a month ago, I asked my community over on my Discord channel, the Lily Pad, which you should totally join, by the way, link in the description if you want to join that. I asked my community to make custom kits. I asked them to make custom kits and send them to me using Yaga's weapon kit generator. Link in description if you do want to use that, by the way. Really cool stuff. You want to like concept, new weapons or just, make a profile for yourself. It's pretty damn good. But like I said, I did have my community make custom kits, so what I want to go ahead and do is run through all the custom kits that were sent in to me. And like, I'll admit, this is like a month old. I'm sure my community's been waiting on this for a while, and I've kind of forgotten about it. I apologize, by the way, for that. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. So our first three weapons actually are gonna be from Wacky. The first one of which is a splatter shot with burst bombs and crab tank. Personally, I'm just gonna say it right now, the Splash-O-Matic in Splatoon 3 is broken. I'm gonna have a video coming up on that pretty damn soon after this. But Splash-O-Matic is completely broken right now, simply due to the fact that it's really good for just shooting in general, really good ink coverage, really good damage output. Burst bomb can just like kind of mess with anybody in general, and crab tank's a pretty good like offensive and defensive type special just in general. It's a solid special. So like giving that to splatter shot would obviously make it a very strong weapon, stronger than it already is, because splatter shot already has suction bomb and a trizuke, I believe, and that all in its own makes a splatter shot an impressive ass weapon, and it makes it really good. But giving it the Splash-O-Matic kit, I think would make it even stronger. Next though, we have the Splatter Shot Pro with Fizzy Bomb and a Reef Slider. Personally, I can see this being a sort of like a oppressive type weapon. Not the way it is right now. To me personally, I think like the Splatter Shot Pro is more like a defensive type weapon. You can slay out with, but at the same time, it's more so built for you to play with your team a bit more. This I feel like would completely nullify that and make it a completely oppressive weapon, similar to how Kensa Pro was in Splatoon 2. Alright, and finally for Wacky's entries, we have the Nautilus with Splat Bomb and Kill Rate of 5.1. Personally, I think this would work amazingly for it, because right now Nautilus kit in the game is kind of meh. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I know it's not good enough to the point where I don't really see the Nautilus at all in Splatoon 3. I've seen it here and there a few times, but for the most part, Ballpoint's kind of outplaced it. But, given the Nautilus gets a new kit pretty soon, it could very well see a return as being sort of like meta-based weapon almost. But, I mean, this kit in general, I would say would be pretty good as Splat Bomb, could be pretty good as like let's say someone's hunting you down and you're not charged. Throwing Splat Bomb on your feet would simply act as a distraction or just a little bit of cover. And Kill Rate is also really good as a locating special, by the way. I feel like not a lot of people use that as much. Moving on though, we have an entry from Matt, which is the Duelist Quilters with the Angle Shooter and Triple Ink Strike. Personally, I don't know how I feel about this one. It feels like it would be more of a defensive weapon, more akin to like the Jet Sculpture. But I only say that because it has an Angle Shooter. An Angle Shooter at the moment is probably the worst sub in the game. I might have done a tier list on the subs already, but to me personally, right now Angle Shooter is just probably the worst sub in the game. Because Point Sensor outdoes it in every way, because Point Sensor, it's a bigger area. And for Angle Shooter, you're either hitting your target directly and getting 30 hit points on them, or you're either waiting for them to walk into it. Either way, you can't really push up that much with it because of how far it shoots. And Triple Ink Strike in the game right now is kind of, it's underwhelming. It doesn't do enough ink coverage for me, and the damage it does is kind of, I don't know. To me, I think Ink Strike just needs a buff in terms of speed, and how fast it deploys, and in terms of like ink coverage, it needs a buff on that. Alright, moving on though, we have Dalton's weapons. Now he actually submitted a few, but they were all text entries, so I went ahead and went to the generator and made pictures of them myself. But his first entry though was the Splatter Shot Junior with Torpedo and Inkjet. Yeah, no, I'm gonna say it right now, it's busted. I'm gonna say it right now, it is completely busted. The Junior already in Splatoon 2 was busted enough having Splat Bomb and Ink Armor in the game. And that was already insane as it is, because not only could the weapon be a oppressive ass weapon, because that's mainly what I used it for, but it could also just support the entire team with merely the click of a button. This would make it feel more skill based, a bit. Because right now in the game, the Junior is still a support class weapon, because right now I believe it has Splat Bomb and Big Bubbler, or what I call it, Dome, But right now in the game, it's still a bit of a support class weapon that can still kind of slay out like it did in Splatoon 2, but not as much due to its special. But this, though, would make it a complete Slayer class weapon, which I think, if this actually were to be introduced into the game, would make Junior one of the top weapons once again. Next, though, we have the Dynamo Roller with Angle Shooter and a Reef Slider. I don't know how to feel, because in general right now in the game, Dynamo needs a buff. Dynamo needs a buff because it just cannot kill, and when it does kill, I feel like it's both a surprise to the person who gets splatted and to the person using the Dynamo. Like, it's a very big surprise. You know, in coverage it's amazing, but Dynamo needs a buff. But I feel like giving it the sub of Angle Shooter, I feel like considering how much Angle Shooter takes up most of the time, you maybe only get like maybe 1 or 2 Dynamo shots in, and at that point I don't really know if it would be worth it using Angle Shooter on this weapon. And Reef Slider, I feel like Reef Slider could be pretty good, but seeing as how Dynamo is sort of a weapon that kind of benefits from being the backline almost, sort of like Flingza a bit, although I guess it depends on the Flingza player. I feel like Reef Slider wouldn't get as much value, well, with you know, the Dynamo. But I mean, it would be a strange kit to see in the game, but I mean, we'll see. All right, next up we have the Junior once again, but this time with Splat Bomb and Zipcaster. Now I know earlier with Dalton's earlier entry, I had said that the Juniors were already an impressive weapon with Splat Bomb, and that really its special was just kind of like the only thing holding it back. Yeah, no, giving it Zipcaster would be breaking that would be breaking that limit. Because then it would basically turn this weapon into a complete Slayer class weapon. And I would love to play this. I would genuinely have so much fun zipping around the map and just like killing everyone. It would be so fun. It would be so fun to see in the game. All right, next up we have once again the Dynamo Roller, but this time with Suction Bomb and Big Bubbler or Dome. Personally, support weapon, you know, backline weapon. I can see this being in the game. I mean, I can already see it being in the game, honestly. Considering Dynamo's kind of like more or less just a backline weapon, you know, defensive like I said earlier, but giving a Big Bubbler and Suction Bomb could prove beneficial to the weapon, I feel like. So I would definitely want this to be in the game, you know. It would give some value to the Dynamo at the moment, because right now it's kind of underwhelming, you know. Right, but next up we have the Tri-Stringer, though, with Point Sensor and Inkjet. Now, I will admit, as much as I enjoy the Tri-Stringer, its kit of Toxic Mist and Killer Whale, it feels off, you know. It feels off, because you have 2 locating subs and specials, right? Which, given Toxic Mist, you know, it kind of helps. At least I think it has Toxic Mist. Does it? I'm not sure. I'll fact check myself on that one. But I feel like right now, Tri-Stringer in the game is... It's a great weapon right now. It's a great weapon, but it has such an underwhelming kit to it. But I feel like giving it Point Sensor and Inkjet, it could make more value of not only the main weapon, but of everything. You could utilize the entire kit and get away with it. Like, truth be told, yes, you can kind of utilize the entire kit for the current Tri-Stringer, but it's kind of a bit more difficult. I don't know. SRB2 dude has a video covering that. I'll leave a link to that if you guys want. Next, though, we have the Reflux with Torpedo and Inkjet. I mean, I can see it. I can see it being in the game, but I feel like a Reflux would lose its value as being a special spammer. Because right now, you know, they did nerf the Reflux in terms of points of special, but either way, it's still not enough, personally. But I feel like Torpedo and Inkjet, it could give the Reflux more value to be up in the front lines and not just, you know, kind of standing from afar away from all the fights and just spamming 10 missiles. You know, I feel like this would be a healthy change for the weapon, but maybe not quite what we need. I'm not sure, but I mean, who knows? Because I'm sure the Reflex will get another kit in the future, so we'll see how that goes. Next up, though, we have the Undercover Umbrella with Torpedo and Triple Ink Strike. I can see it being in the game. Personally, I can see it being in the game, because didn't Undercover Umbrella already have Torpedo in the second game? Right? Or was it different? I think it was Undercover. I'm pretty sure. But, you know, giving a Torpedo back, I think. Yeah, giving a Torpedo back would be pretty good, you know, because the weapon is already... in the game right now, it's kind of underwhelming. I don't really see this weapon as much as I used to. In Splatoon 2, this weapon kind of had, like, a bit of an uprising at one point, but it kind of just slowly died down. And it was definitely one of the better umbrellas in the game for Splatoon 2. But right now, Splatoon 3, it's... I don't see it. To be honest, I don't see any umbrellas being played right now. And I feel like that's because all their stats and all their specials and kits just aren't what people need in the game right now. But giving a Torpedo and Ink Strike, I feel like could be pretty good, because it could make for a very oppressive weapon, you know? But finally, we have the Heavy Splatling with Point Sensor and Triple Ink Strike. Now, I'll admit, Heavy Splatling at the moment, it's a pretty good weapon. If you don't want to pick up the Hydra or Nautilus or Ballpoint, the heavy Splatling is a really good baseline to get into the entire Splatling line. It's a really good baseline, especially with its kit right now of Wave Breaker and a sub that I don't remember the name of. I think it's Suction Bomb, I'm not quite, or no, it's Sprinkler. Like, that kit in general is good, but giving it a kit of Point Sensor and Ink Strike could be pretty good, because I feel like, you know, Splatling does kind of suffer from that backlane syndrome where it's like, okay, for the entire game you're kind of just positioned in 1 or 2 spots around the map, and that's it, right? But giving it Point Sensor, not only would you be able to then locate flanking enemies that are trying to, you know, go around you and pick you off, then wipe with the rest of your team, it'd be really good for helping the rest of your team say like, okay, hey, there's a person with Ninja Squid hiding in this corner, there they are, you know, there you go. And Ink Strike, I feel like, would be also really good for modes like, you know, Tower Control, Zones, maybe Rainmaker. It would be really freaking good. So, like, personally, I would want this kit in the game. And that is all we have. If you want to see more of this type of stuff, do let me know. I was actually thinking of doing a part 2 to this, where I asked my community once again to send me in custom kits, and then I would go ahead and, you know, cover them. But yeah, if there's a custom kit, or a kit in general you'd like to see come into the game, let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye!